All right, welcome to Explainer. Today, we are tackling a huge topic, change management. And look, whether you're a seasoned leader or maybe you're even prepping for a certification, this is one of those skills you absolutely have to master.
It sounds so simple, right? Most people are not fond of change. But that single idea is the root of one of the biggest headaches any manager will ever face. We're creatures of habit. We like our routines. So when you try to change how we work, who we work with, or just our daily flow, you're going to get pushback. It's almost a guarantee. And let's be real, the stakes here are massive. Think about it. Kodak, Blockbuster, Sears. These were giants. But they got so good at protecting what they were, they completely forgot to build what they needed to become. In today's world, if you're not changing, you're not just falling behind, you're basically signing your own exit papers.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. We'll start with the challenge of change itself. Then we'll get into understanding resistance, why it happens, the actual change management process, and finally, how to make it all stick. Especially for those of you studying, this is the core stuff you need to nail.
All right, let's jump into part one, the challenge of change. It really is a tug of war between keeping things as they are and, well, surviving.
So what are we really talking about with change management? It's basically the playbook for getting an organization through the chaos that comes with anything new. A new system, a new strategy, you name it. And disruption is the key word here. Imagine a new piece of software rolls out. It's not just about learning new buttons. It messes with your daily rhythm, changes who you talk to, and can even make you worry about your job. That's the real human element we're dealing with. And here's something you've probably seen firsthand. The longer someone's been at a company, the harder it can be for them to adapt. It makes sense, right? You spend years, maybe decades, mastering a system, and then someone wants to throw it all out. That investment in the old way is powerful, and it's not just on the front lines. This kind of resistance can go all the way up to the executive suite. Okay, so we've set the stage. Now let's talk about the biggest hurdle, resistance. This is part two. Before you can even think about solving it, you have to know what it looks like. We need to identify the what before we can get to the why. This is a fantastic way to think about it. Resistance isn't just one thing. It comes in three main flavors. First, you've got logical resistance. This is the show me the numbers person. They'll say things like, the costs are just too high. Then there's psychological resistance. This is all about feelings. I'm just comfortable with how we do things now. And finally, you have sociological resistance, which is about the group. It's the classic, but we've always done it this way. Understanding which one you're facing is half the battle. Let's zoom in on that last one because it's a big one. Sociological resistance, or groupthink. You know what this is. It's when everyone just kind of goes along to get along. Someone might secretly think, hey, this new idea is pretty good, but they're not going to be the one to stick their neck out and go against the grain. Peer pressure is a beast, and it can stop a great idea dead in its tracks. Okay, so resistance has two faces. Think of it like an iceberg. You've got the part you can see, that's overt resistance. It's loud. It's people complaining, openly challenging you, refusing to show up. Easy to spot. But the dangerous part is what's under the water, covert resistance. This is sneaky. It's motivation just vanishing, productivity dipping, more people calling in sick. It's quiet, but it can sink the entire ship if you're not paying close attention. All right, we've covered the what. Now for part three, let's get to the heart of it, the why. Why do people push back so hard? Let's dig into the human side of things. This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? What's really going on under the surface? Because if you don't get to the root of why people are resisting, you're just playing whack-a-mole with the symptoms. You're not actually solving anything. A lot of the time, the resistance has nothing to do with the change itself and everything to do with how the company is handling it. Were people left out of the loop? Is communication a total mess so rumors are flying? Do people just not trust leadership? Maybe the last big change was a disaster. If an employee is thinking, yeah, right, last time they said this, 3 of my friends got laid off, you can bet they're not going to be on board this time. And then, of course, there's the personal side of it. We are all wired to love the familiar. Change introduces the unknown, and that's scary. People start asking themselves these really fundamental questions. Am I going to lose my job? Will I look stupid trying to learn this new thing? Am I going to lose control over my own work? It all comes down to a feeling of losing control and safety. Okay, so we know what resistance looks like and why it happens. Now what do we do about it? Let's get into part 4, the actual process. This is our roadmap for getting it right. Step 1 seems almost too simple. You have to actually recognize there's a problem. But you'd be shocked at how many companies fail right here. Just look at the corporate graveyard. Blockbuster, Nokia, Kodak. They saw the world changing, but they refused to see the problem it posed for them. They were in denial, and it cost them everything.
Now, for anyone taking a test on this stuff, this is a key distinction you've got to know: the difference between change drivers and change triggers. Think of it this way. A driver is the big, slow-moving storm on the horizon, like a new technology bubbling up. A trigger is the lightning strike that hits your house, a sudden drop in sales, a competitor's surprise launch. The trigger is what makes you act now, but it's usually caused by a driver you might have been ignoring. Okay, let's talk about a classic model that you'll definitely see again. It's called Lewin's change model, and it's brilliant because it's so simple. Think of it like an ice cube. First, you have to unfreeze it. You melt the old way of doing things, break down the status quo. Then you introduce the change. You pour that water into a new mold. And finally, the most important step, you refreeze it. You solidify the change so it becomes the new, solid standard. But getting the change implemented, that's not the finish line. Not even close. So for our last section, part 5, let's talk about how you make it stick. How do you go beyond just launching something new? I love this quote because it's the perfect picture of what happens. You go through all this effort, you stretch that rubber band to a new shape, but if you let go, what happens? Snap! It goes right back to how it was before. Organizations are the same. Without reinforcement, people will slowly, unconsciously, slip back into their old routines. So how do you stop that rubber band from snapping back? It takes deliberate action. You have to integrate and consolidate. Bake the new process right into the company's DNA. Make it part of the official procedure. You have to monitor and evaluate. Track the results, be transparent, show people that it's working. And you have to commit to continuous improvement. Look at companies like Amazon or McDonald's. They are never done changing. It's a constant cycle of refinement. And this really brings it all home. Shakespeare nailed it. What's past is prologue. Your company's history, that's just the opening act. It sets the scene, but it absolutely does not have to be the whole story. For companies that truly get this, the past isn't a rule book. It's just the launching pad for whatever comes next. So we'll leave you with this question to chew on. Change isn't an event, it's a process. It's constant. The real danger isn't changing, it's standing still. So take a hard look at your own organization. What are those big drivers of change, those storms on the horizon that maybe, just maybe, everyone is trying to ignore right now?